I'm Andrea Klein-Thomas, reporter for CBS New York, here at the 5th International Vatican Conference, joined now by Dr. Amy Abernethy. We're so happy to have you here.
Such an honor to be with you here today.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of medical conferences are pretty siloed. This one is different. We're bringing a lot of people to the table. Why is that important in the conversations that we're having right now?
Right now, if we are going to solve hard problems, we need intersectional thinking that comes from all sides of the problem and coming together and finding the creativity, the solutions, the voices, and those voices are at the intersections. And these kinds of conferences, this conference is what we need in order to make that happen.
How has the use of large quantities of data really changed medical research and the delivery of healthcare? And are there privacy concerns that are hindering that effort moving forward?
So when we think about information that helps us understand whether a treatment, a medical product, a healthcare delivery action works or not. We call that clinical evidence generation. We used to do that solely through traditional clinical trials. These are very formalized, narrow experiments, essentially, to understand how a treatment works. These days, we're starting to learn how treatments perform by looking at data sets that are coming from many different directions. Information lodged in electronic health records, information lodged in claims and administrative data, perhaps the information from the actigraph in your watch or social media. And those new data sets can complement traditional clinical trial data to create a more holistic picture of how treatments work and really create a more inclusive picture beyond people who are the participants in more traditional clinical trials. Now, importantly, you asked about privacy, and we have an important conversation to have about how do we make sure that information that is captured in data sets outside of traditional clinical trials is kept private, that we understand that our information is not going to be attributed all the way back to us, and also that the way those data sets are getting used are in line with our expectation of the use. And this is an evolving conversation. I think it should be a very full conversation that we can all participate in. And a conference like this is important to make sure that we advance that conversation.
You know, in talking about the information gathered from COVID-19, I mean, there's been so much learned over this last year. Did the FDA have an aha moment at all when using this real world, real time data?
I had a couple of ahas. My biggest aha is that real world data, the data that's collected in electronic health records, for example, can do something that we forget: the importance of describing the living history of an illness that's unfolding in front of us in real time, and describing, observing, understanding what's happening and then understanding how to address it is a critical task, and real world data really has helped us in that way. Also, we need to build the science. These data sets are hard to work with, and we need to learn how to do so. And we need to have the kind of conversations being advanced here at this conference about what do we absolutely have to get right in order to be able to do this work well: transparency, privacy, attention to the patient, inclusivity.
And you were talking about patients donating their information. That's one of the conversations that we need to have. Talk more about that.
So I've been really trying to advance the idea that we have the potential for an affirmative way of having our data and information be used, that we can build the underlying technology and also the conversation or the discourse to say, here's how I want my information to be used. I'd like to donate my data to Alzheimer's research or to melanoma research. And I want to make sure that when my data is used, the following principles are followed. And by the way, if you don't do as I've outlined, I'm going to rescind that right, because you have a responsibility of using my data in a way that aligns with my expectations. This affirmative approach then helps to outline all of the important good that can be done with data, and also helps to advance the public conversation about what we really want, really as a society.
Dr. Abernethy, this is such important work that you're doing and conversations that you're having so we can move healthcare outcomes, we can move it forward. So thanks so much for being here and participating.
Thank you. It's an honor.